Okay guys, I'm going to record me doing the 10.1 homework, help you guys out. Now what I like to do is turn my sheet so that the shape has a vertical height. And basically you guys will turn your sheet so you've turned your shape like I have. And now I can see that my height right here is 5.7. And then the base is going to be always perpendicular to the height. And it would be the same as this length, 4.7. So area is equal to base times height. Area is equal to base, which is 4.7, times the height, which is 5.7. Multiply those out, and you get 26.79, and that is in square inches. That's area right there. Moving number 3, I'm going to do the same thing. So this turns so that I can see the height is vertical. That's just a preference of mine. I'm going to change this to red just because I like red. 3.5, that's my height. Now, the base is going to be perpendicular to it, but it is only the length that it sits on. So it's only the length of this side. We don't even care about this length right there. Just cross it off. It doesn't matter. Now, this length is going to be equal to the top length, which is 5.8. So we have an area equals base times height. Our base is 5.8. Our height is 3.5. Multiply those out, and those are both in meters, so my answer is going to be in meters squared, or square meters. And I get 20.3 square meters. Find the value of h for each parallelogram. Now, looking at this parallelogram, I know that I have a height right here of 8, and a base that would be 14, as well as that one. So I know area is equal to base times height, base 14, height 8. The area of the whole thing is 112. Now, if I look at it a different way, let's say I turn this. I now have a different height and a different base. My new height, I don't know. That's what we're trying to find. But the base right here would be the same as the top, so that would be 10. So using the same equation, area equals base times height. I have a new base of 10. Height, I don't know, so I'm going to call that x. And area, we already figured that out. That's 112. So I'm going to divide by 10 on both sides. And x, my height, will be 11.2, I believe. That is it. That is your height. Number 5 is going to be done very similar. Right away, you see that we have a height of 0.3 and a base of 0.4. So I'll figure out what the area is. If we're trying to find the height over here, I'm going to turn this so that the height is perpendicular and vertical. Okay, so now we have an unknown height right here and a known base. This is 0.5. So set it up the same way. Area equals base times height. Area we found was 0.12. Base, the new base, is 0.5. And height is unknown. I'm going to actually call it h this time. Solving for h, you have to divide by 0.5 on both sides. and you get 0.24. So that is your h. Moving on to number 7. So the area of each triangle. Area is equal to 1/2 times base times height. We know that we have a base right here, that's the side that it sits on. That is total 7. We have a height, they gave it to us, that is 4. And you multiply those and then multiply them by 1/2 or divide by 2, however you want to think about it. 7 times 4 is 28, divided by 2 equals 14. And that would be square meters. Going to number 8. This is done very similar, except the thing is, if you turn this the right way, you can see that we have a base and a height perpendicular to it. So 4.5 is our base, 6 is our height, and we can say area equals 1/2 base times height, 1/2 times base of 4.5 and height of 6. Multiply those out and you get 13.5, and that will be in square yards. Alright, so find the area of each figure. There's a couple different ways you can think about 34. One is that if you fill in this to make a square, this triangle is going to have a height of 25 and a base of 25 also. As you can see, opposite side is 25, so this is going to be 25. Sorry, that looks like a 3. Let me erase this. So the area of this red filled in triangle would be 1/2 base times height, 1/2 25 times 25. And essentially how we find 1/2 is that a triangle fit inside of a rectangle or square that has the same length of one of the bases and the same height as the other base, then that is going to be 1/2. So really what the other two will fill up will be the same area. These two areas added together will be the same as this one in red. So that is it. 1/2 25 times 25. And I get 312.5. And that will be square feet. Now that is just one way you can think about it. If you're more algebraic, we can do it another way. So I'm going to erase all this? Yes. Here's what I'm going to say. Now, we know this whole area, or this whole length is 25. I don't know the individual lengths, but let's say that I call this length x. So the area of this triangle right here is going to be 1/2 times x times 25. And then the area of this triangle, well, if this whole length is 25, and we say this is x, then this length would be 25 minus x. So would be right there. So the area of this triangle would be 1/2 times base of 25 minus x times height of 25. And what we're going to do is add these two areas together. So 1/2 x times 25 is equal to 12.5 x. This 1/2 times 25 is 12.5. 1/2 times x. Actually, what we're going to do is take 1/2 times 25, that will be 25, to 12.5, and then we'll distribute it to the 25 minus x. So I did these two first. 12.5 times 25 is 312.5. 12.5 times negative x is negative 12.5x. And what we need to do is add, so this would be the area of this triangle, and then we have, we'll call this area 1, and then this is area 2. Area 2 we had 12.5x. If we add them together, we have 12.5x plus 312.5 minus 12.5x. 12.5x minus 12.5x cancel, and we're left with 312.5 square feet, which is the same as what I got the first time. That's just more complicated. Okay, so at 35, we need to find the first area. We'll call this area 1, and that's with a parallelogram. So area 1 is equal to base times height. Base, we'll say it's 15, and height is 21. So I got 315 square centimeters, but that's only the first part. Now we have to find area 2. Now what I know is that this triangle is going to have the same height as this parallelogram. So if I move that height over, that is also 21. So area of the triangle is 1/2 times base times height. Base of 20, height of 21. Good, so I get 210 and 315. You have to add them together, and you get 525 square centimeters. With number 36, you can think of this as a rectangle and a triangle. Draw that in. If this side is 120 and this little part is 40, then the rest would be 80. right there. And if this whole thing is 200 and this part is 60, that would make this part 60 also. 60 minus, or 200 minus 60 is 140. This is a right angle. Now, the area of the rectangle, so area of the rectangle is equal to base times height, or length times width, however you want to do it. But either way, you're taking 60 and multiplying it by 120. So the area of the rectangle is 7,200 square meters. Now, area of the triangle is equal to 1/2 times the base times the height. The base, now if you look at it sideways, the base would be 80 and the height would be 140. So 1/2 times 80 times 140 and the area of the triangle is 5,600 square meters. So add those two together, and I get a total area of 12,800 square meters. Last problem. With a regular pentagon, what I know is that the interior angle sum will be the number of sides minus 2 times 180. Now the number of sides is 5 minus 2 times 180. And that equals 540 degrees total, dispersed through all of these angles. This angle, this angle, this angle, this angle, this angle. Now, 540, if I want to find what each individual angle is, I divide the total by 5 because there's 5 angles. And each one is going to be 108. So this angle is 108. This angle, the whole thing would be 108. This is 108. This whole thing, this whole thing. Right? Now, what I have to realize is that this triangle, ENP, is an isosceles triangle. So, since these sides are equal, then these angles will be equal. And I can figure what those are. I'll call both of these x, and I say x plus 108 should be equal to 180, or 2x plus 108 equals 180. 2x is equal to 72. X is equal to 36. So each of these individual small angles is 36. And the same thing on this side. 36, 36. Now, if this whole thing is 108, then we take 36 away from 108 to find this angle. That is 72. Same thing on this side, 72. And then the whole thing is 108. Take away 36 twice. And I get 36 right there. And you guys can figure out what the angles are.